Hey everyone, this question comes from Miranda. She's in our T2 Endurance Facebook group, and she's training for a 70.3 program, and she had a question about tight hip flexors. Recently, she has a very sore hip flexor. It's never happened to her before, and she's asking for any tips or stretches on strength exercises that maybe help with this issue. I think it's a great question, and it's pretty common in runners, triathletes, commonly from the bike, being bent over, creating some tightness, as well as having some weak glutes. So let's start with some stretches, and then we'll move on to some mobility, hip mobility and core stability movements, because they both go hand in hand. If you have a tight hip flexor, you probably have weak glutes. So to start with stretches, the first thing I would do is the world's greatest stretch, otherwise known as elbow to instep stretch. It's going to work the hip, the knee, the ankle, the calves. It kind of get the hamstrings. It's kind of a little bit of everything. So what you're going to do to start with is you're going to extend your leg back, keep it straight so you can activate that glute. If you keep that back knee bent, you're going to not activate the glute. So as we're trying to stretch that hip flexor, we're trying to keep that glute activated. So again, we're killing two birds with one stone. You also don't want to round your back. You want to keep your back as straight as possible. You will feel some hamstring, some hip stretch in one leg, as well as the hip flexor stretch in another leg, as well as your calf. And then without bending the knee, you're going to lean back a little bit. You're going to lean that front leg back so you can get more engagement in your hamstring. And you're going to lift that toe up, because that's going to stretch the calf muscle as well. And then you're going to sit upright, kind of stay in that lunge position before you step into the other lunge. It's important to come out of this stretch upright before you step into the other side lunge, and then do the same thing on the other side. This is a great stretch, as well as strengthening exercises for your glutes, hamstrings, quads. It's good a movement to do as a movement preparation before you're running and cycling and swimming events, and then it's a good one to do afterwards as well. From there, I go into what's called a Spider-Man with rotation. So you're going to start back in that push-up position. You're going to bring your foot up to your hand. So it's kind of similar to the world's greatest stretch. And then you're going to twist. You're going to bring your arm up to the sky with a rotation. Hold that for 5 to 10 seconds. Bring your hand down, and then you're going to bring up your other arm to reach to the sky and hold this position. So you're not only stretching your hip flexor and the whole hip complex area, you're opening up your chest and shoulders. So another great stretch to work on core balance, opening up the hips, the chest, and the shoulder. From there, I'd go into what's called the pigeon stretch. And this is great if you're someone who tends to sit a lot during the day. You may have very tight piriformis, which is the pain in the butt. It's also going to activate the glutes and stretch the hip flexor. As you're in this pigeon position, try to move your arms to the left, kind of walk your arms out to the left, and then walk your arms out to the right. Do it for maybe 30 to 60 seconds before you move on to the next stretch. Now the next one is called Scorpion. It's actually one of my favorites. I started doing it years ago, probably back in 1997 when I read the Core Performance book for athletes. And what you're going to do is you're going to stay in this lying down position. You're going to bring your arms out to your side so your wrists are parallel to your shoulders. You're going to keep your arms extended, flex your knee, lift it, take it over to the other side while squeezing your glutes. So again, you're squeezing the glutes, activating that glute medius, as well as stretching your hip flexors. You're going to hold that position for maybe 30 seconds, and then you're going to unwind and repeat on the other side. Keep your palms facing down, and if you want to add more shoulder, chest motion, you can lift your arm up at the same time. So again, in all four of these exercises, it's really important to squeeze your glute as you're making the motion. Keep that glute squeeze as you're working your hip flexor. So those are the 4 stretches. Now let's move on to what can you do to keep that glute activated. There's 3 movements that I would do. Number 1 is the clamshell. You want to make sure, and with a band, I like to use a band. You're going to lie on your side. Keep your ankles together as you lift your knees up from one another. If you don't feel it in your glute, make sure you reposition your bent knees to a position where you're going to feel your glute. If you're still not feeling your glute, you may have some sort of pelvic alignment issue, and you may need to go in and get some sort of adjustment with a physical therapy, an ART specialist, muscle activation specialist, someone you know and trust that is going to do some good work on you and get those hips and that pelvis area aligned. The next mobility exercise I would do is the glute bridge. That's pretty common. Again, I like to do this with a band where you're just going to lie on your back, slowly lift your hips up to the ground, off the ground to whatever is comfortable, and then keep this position, keep your core tight, and start moving your legs in and out with that band. So you're working on really good hip mobility as well as core stability. This is one of my favorites. They're all my favorites actually. And then the last one I would do is, again, keep that band around you. You're going to stand up and you're going to do what's called a monster walk. Go, stand as tall or, squat down as low as you can. The idea is to keep your core stable, your hips in alignment with your knees, and you're going to walk back slowly from side to side, maybe 4 to 8 on one side, and then you're going to switch sides. Again, if you can't feel this in your glute medius as you're doing it, something else is going on and you should go get checked out with a physical therapist or a chiropractor that does active release technique to get those glutes firing so you can make sure you're strengthening a muscle that's actually activated. So if you have any more questions, comment below. Go to speakpipe.com/endurance hour, leave us a voicemail, join our T2 Endurance Club Facebook group if you're not already in it. And we got a lot of conversations going on in that group, so it's a great group to be in. I hope you make it a great day.